Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Papo Young Apatosaurus. Alright you guys, so the Papo Young Apatosaurus is one of their 2015 offerings. Feels really good for them to finally be doing an Apatosaurus, and I'm really glad to have this. It's a pretty dynamic looking dinosaur. It seems like it's kind of in a walking position. Very detailed, a very neutral color scheme, and the longest Papo dinosaur that they have done yet. Now the Apatosaurus comes inside a plastic bag, just as do all Papo dinosaurs, and nothing to it really, just a clear bag. And it has the typical Papo tag there on its neck, and then a Papo sticker right there on its tail. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those and give you a close-up here of the head. It's kind of in a unique position. It's kind of just like looking back, I guess, maybe seeing something that's following it or seeing if its younglings are keeping up. Looks pretty good. Very tiny head for the size of this animal. But as you can see, it is very nicely done. The head is very nicely detailed. The eyes look very, very nice. Very friendly looking dinosaur in my opinion too. I just think it looks really, really cool. And you can see that it has teeth in there that herbivores have. And then it's got a tongue. Looks like there's a little bit of detail in there. It is very hard to see in there, but as you can see there is some sculpted detail in the mouth. So even though it's a very small mouth, it's very cool that they did opt to give it a little bit of detail in there. Now, I'm not sure exactly what constitutes this being a young Apatosaurus. I don't know if there's a specific feature to it. But Papo is labeling this as a young Apatosaurus, and we don't really have an adult Apatosaurus in Papo's line to compare it to, so it looks to me like an adult, but Papo says that it's a young Apatosaurus. The only thing that I can kind of see here that seems sort of out of place from what we have normally seen with Apatosaurus is that it has a hugely thick neck. And I don't love that. I wish that the neck was a little bit thinner and more in line with what we tend to see with depictions of the Apatosaurus. But, it is different, and it is nice enough for them to offer us an Apatosaurus. I'm just really glad to have one. I just think that the neck is a little bit too fat. Of course, there's no denying that from all angles there's plenty of sculpt work done, as tends to be the case with Papo's dinosaurs. The neck is certainly very detailed, and the body too, just plenty of fine lines and wrinkles and all that stuff that makes a dinosaur look very, very cool. And they did a really nice job with the musculature. Like, you see that she's in a walking position, and you can see like the muscles are expanding as she takes a step, which is really, really cool. I think her legs just look very, very nice from all angles, really. I think it's a stunning looking piece. You see along her back here, going from the neck down to the tail, that there's these ridges along her back. And I suppose that those are supposed to indicate where her spine is located, where the vertebrae are located. And, just from all angles, very, very stunning. Underneath, it says Papo 2015. And the coloration is a little bit lighter underneath, very slightly. So, and the legs look very good. Like I said, nice musculature to them, but, very nice detail there. You can see she kind of has like thumbs for the front legs, and the hind legs look very nice as well. 4 toes on either leg, and they're not really painted like a different color. It looks like they're not even painted at all, which is interesting, but nonetheless, I think that she looks very, very nice. And like I said, super long tail. This is Papo's absolute longest dinosaur they have ever done, and it's just very whip-like, very long, the way it like kind of curves, like that. And it's cool. It adds personality to it. If they would have straightened this out, probably would have been way too long. Same with the neck. So I imagine to some degree that's probably why it's in this unique position where it's looking back and its tail is kind of curved like that. As for the coloration, like I said, she's a very neutral color. It's kind of basically like a chocolatey kind of brown. It's not super dark, but it does have like some lines right there where you see the vertebrae, and those kind of give it like a darker look in there. And then, it kind of has a little bit of a gradient where, it's more light down here in the bottom part of the neck and tail. And again, on the bottom, it's a little bit lighter as well. I've also noticed that on this particular one, there are some red stripes that she has here on her neck that you can kind of see underneath it. You kind of see them there and then going all the way down, but they're more noticeable on this side than they are on that side. For whatever reason, you don't really see any of those stripes on, well, there's kind of one and two right there, but you don't really see them as much over here. And again, very nice detail there, with the bones. And this is just a stellar piece, and I really think that Papo knocked it out of the park, just like they always do in terms of overall detail and quality. And then to give you a comparison here with Papo's other sauropod, the Brachiosaurus, you can certainly see that although the Young Apatosaurus is quite a bit smaller, she is still longer than the Brachiosaurus. Now I'll go ahead and bring in the Stegosaurus. I'm only bringing in Jurassic period dinosaurs because those are really the only ones that matter in terms of comparing them with the Apatosaurus from a scientific and geological standpoint. As you can see, the Stegosaurus's plates go pretty high. They're not quite as tall as the head of the Apatosaurus, but she is still pretty large, I think, compared to the Apatosaurus. I think that's partly due to it just being a very large Papo dinosaur, perhaps a little bit too large. And then here we have the Papo Allosaurus, and this is probably the one the Young Apatosaurus wants to watch out for because Allosaurus is certainly on the prowl for lunch, and that Young Apatosaurus might make a good meal. The Allosaurus is a good bit smaller than the Apatosaurus. In this regard here, it does kind of look like this could be a Young Apatosaurus because she would certainly be larger when compared to a real-life adult Allosaurus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Papo Young Apatosaurus, new for 2015. All in all, I gotta say that this is a very, very nicely done Papo dinosaur. Just like always, Papo did a really, really nice job getting the detail and excellent coloration to this animal. It does look very lifelike, as their animals tend to do, and they just did a very, very nice job with this Apatosaurus. Initially, I didn't know exactly how I was going to feel about the Apatosaurus because I haven't seen it in person up until now. And, the oversized neck does kind of bother me a little bit, but it certainly doesn't take away from how cool this thing looks. Again, very lifelike, and Papo, as usual, did a very, very stellar job with it. And it's quickly becoming one of my favorite Papo dinosaurs, even though I've only had it for a very short time. I really, really like it. If you're collecting Papo's dinosaur line, then I highly recommend you go out and get you an Apatosaurus. I picked mine up from Amazon.com for around $27, and that's not too bad of a deal, really, considering how nice this dinosaur is. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I think that the Apatosaurus deserves, I think I'm going to go ahead and give her 4 stars. Like I said, the neck is really the only thing that bothers me here. The color, I think, is perfect for this specific dinosaur. It's very nice looking, and, as always, Papo tends to knock their dinosaurs out of the park, and they certainly succeeded here. Alright, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Papo Young Apatosaurus. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, and as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.